Welcome to another webinar of the series of the webinars for the DEW project, Digital Entrepreneurship for Women. Again, a project that has been co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Commission, in this case managed by the Irish National Authority. The DEW project, the title says it all. It really is the nexus, is an operational nexus between three mega trends of entrepreneurship, female empowerment or gender, and the digital transition. As we have seen in other webinars, we have an overarching framework and also a methodological underpinning that led us to selecting specific training courses in support of digital entrepreneurship for women, as you can see also from the beautiful ladies in the background. I'm again today together with Roberta Albertazzi from IWS in Spain, the technological partner that not only took care of developing content on the digital skills and digital competences, but also was behind the architecture of building the e-learning platform, the open educational resource platform of the project. And then I'm also together with Francesca Paolini of IDP European Consultants, the Italian partner that was mainly responsible for the development of all the training content that was relating to business and entrepreneurship for women. The approach today is going to be much more practical than the other webinars. So we're going to go and look into what are the resources that we have on our OER platform, the e-learning platform, how users can expect, what users can expect in terms of content, what users can envisage in terms of structure of the training, structure of the platform, where is what, and also how to use the tools, both on the learning side, because we have a lot of training material. We have not only training content and training handouts, but we also have a glossary of terms, which is a very quick reference guide for users to understand and familiarize with the key concepts of entrepreneurship, digital transformation. We also have the training content in the format of handouts, which is very user-friendly because it's in different formats, and Roberta will explain how to use those different formats. But also we have, most importantly, case studies. So this is really a case study pedagogical approach where you not only have the theory or the theoretical framework that illustrates one concept of entrepreneurship, but also you have practical examples that can guide users in their daily operations. But also we have examples and lessons learned. So not only the good practices of the case study, but also the failure, the examples of failure, of what didn't work in a certain setting. So we really want to give today an operational overview of how to use these different tools. Another feature that is very important for our e-learning platform, or OER platform as it's called in the project, is the ability of the users to validate and test the acquisition of the competences, knowledge, and skills around the concepts of digital transformation and entrepreneurship promotion. So it's really a complete set of tools that can guide users, learners, in this case, through this different type of content and in different contexts, but also then check and test themselves with these different tools. So I'm not going to waste any more time in introducing the topic, and I would just let Roberta and Francesca go through in a very operational way, and actually ideally also share the screen and navigate the platform together so that we can also see where is what and how to use it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. That was brilliant and really summarized what we are going to do today. And as Lorenzo was saying, it's going to be a very technical, very practical approach. So we will just start with what we will find on the OER platform, on the toolkit, but especially prepared for our users. And basically, the training toolbox includes 10 contents. And in particular, this material, as Lorenzo was saying, is associated to best practice and case studies. Now we're going to do first a short recap of the contents, because each training content is divided into different sections, let's say, so that we have a general uniformity across all the training, which let's remind that it has been all the training has been developed by different experts using a common structure. Therefore, that we will find description, objective, and goals, contents organized in units, summing up a section to really fix the content, and the self-assessment tool. Also, as we thought about user friendliness for our users, we prepared a feedback form section where they can leave their feedback. All contents can be listened to in audio format and downloaded into a Word and a PDF for a smoother use, also in offline settings. This is a real win-win situation, because at this point we are really making all the content available in any format, being it online, offline, audio, or graphic. In this session, in the starting section, there is the objective and goals section, which is arranged according to the entry competence involved. So here, Francesca will really help us to understand how did we come to the conclusion of which skill was involved in each training. So this is the OER platform, and this is where you can find the contents that we were mentioning. When a user needs to be trained, basically, they can either go directly straight to the training section, where all the titles are created, starting from digital skills, managing digital team, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. So in our end, as Lorenzo was mentioning, best practices and case studies are associated to the training content. When they click on the training, basically there is a first cartoon like presentation of contents, so that the user can also see a more informal version of the training content. Each content is each training has objective and goals that, as I was saying, are associated to entry competencies involved that Francesca will show us. Then each section is basically independent. And as you see, we didn't have to register or to access through a login to those courses. They are completely free, completely available. Also, in each section, there is a get busy paragraph, which is really a call to action to involve the user to think at their own situation. So think how they can apply the contents learned so far to their real situation. There are also each section and each unit can be basically considered as an independent training path. This also gives a big interactivity and freedom to the user, because you don't have to go ahead section by section to see and visit the content. You can go straight forward to what you are interested in. Then in the summing up section, there is a basic summary of what we learned in that particular unit. And there is, as a validation mechanism, the possibility of test yourself and see what you really have learned from this training course. I'm filling in the test just for you to see, but I'm really not really even reading the question. So here in the test, this is a real self-assessment, because you as user have the answers already from the first try. And if you repeat the test, at the end, you will get the certificate of attendance if you get at least 75% of answers correct. The other format that we have included in the platform is the PowerPoint format, which can be used on two different perspectives. On one end, from the user himself, herself, who can actually go through the slides, but this is also useful for the trainer, because all the contents are already free and available for them to be used and adapted to their own classrooms. So you see that you have the possibility to navigate through the PowerPoint. You have also the possibility to go through the related glossary associated to that particular unit, or go and see all terms included in the glossary. The keywords are fundamental for a smooth browsing of training, as well as the related training material, because it creates an interactivity and routing of the user among training courses. So they don't limit themselves to that particular unit and that particular module, but they can navigate through the content. And also the bibliography is particularly useful for users, because they can enhance or widen the knowledge that they have just learned. In the feedback form, the user have the possibility to actually express themselves, give the idea of what they thought about each module in each language. With the play audio button, basically, there you go. You can stop the recording. You can listen to the training while you are doing your own business or your own activity. So this is particularly useful. With the game, we really try to give a gamification perspective. So you go ahead and guess the word, and finally you will see and test yourself. So this is another recognition of skills and mechanism. Just 1 second, that I need to go through the guessing game. And that's basically it. One more important feature is this coaching feature that you can see here. So there is this semi-automatized artificial intelligence gadget that gives you the possibility to navigate through the contents or ask for information. So how can we help you? And then you go and then click on the section that you are interested in, digital skills. Then the first suggestion is, of course, our training section. But if by any chance you are interested in more on digital skills, you just let us know and send your email, so that we can actually reply on your needs, and we really get into contact with users. So this is basically the core of the functionalities of the training that you have in the platform. Again, with the basic best practices, as Lorenzo was saying, they are associated to module, but also they are training content on themselves. So you can also, in this case, easily navigate without being forced to do it when the platform tells you to do it, which is one of the main problems of a pre-configured e-learning platform, that they really force the user to go through a preset training. And especially in our case, our targets usually don't have time. So most of the time you really are interested in what you want to know and not what the platform forces you to know. This is it, because in the other webinar we went through to the other sections which are more related to other project results. Today we wanted to give you a practical hand grip on how to use the training, how to be empowered through the training, and also even now to use this platform to improve your language skills, because all contents are available in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Italian, and French. So if you want, you can even listen to the courses in other languages to improve your language skills. And now I think Francesca will go through and will explain us why and how we came to the association of EntreComp skills associated to each module in the objective and goals section.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lorenzo, for the introduction of the DEW project, and thanks, Roberta, for this detailed presentation of the platform that really helps me to go into the next topic of this webinar. I will start sharing my screen. Here it is. Okay, so what I want to do with this presentation is to introduce the participants to the EntreComp framework that, as Roberta was mentioning, was the framework used to build up this training course and the DEW training modules. Since, and in a previous webinar, we that was addressed to the adult education providers and the training ecosystem, we explained how we use it to build up this training. But since this webinar is more addressed to women entrepreneurs, to the users, we want to show a different use that can be made of this framework. So first of all, we remind that the EntreComp is the reference framework developed by the Joint Research Center of the European Commission that describes the entrepreneurial competence and what it really means to have an entrepreneurial mindset in terms of competences and attitudes. So more in detail, I show you through these pictures taken by the official EntreComp of the Commission, how the framework is structured. So we see 3 different areas: the into action, ideas and opportunities, and resources area. Each of these areas is structured into a set of competences that are described by threads, by specific threads that tell the users what it means, for example, to be able to value ideas in a very concrete way. Then each competence is structured into 8 progression levels that tell the level of proficiency in this competence according to a set of learning outcomes that describe the different levels. Here we have another pictures that help us understand the framework. So here we see the threads. So for example, the mobilizing resources competence is described as the ability to manage resources, use them in a responsible way, make the most of your time, and be able also to get support. So I show you a practical example on how a user of the DEW platform, for example, can use this framework like a self-assessment tool. If you are maybe an entrepreneur that has recently widen the team. So you have new collaborators that are not working with you in the office, but they are collaborating with you remotely. You really need to know how to manage a digital team. And if you are not familiar with this, you need to know which are the digital resources, the digital tools and competences that are really necessary to do it in an efficient way. And we know that it's not so easy, since nowadays we have so many tools and resources on the web that are digital. So it's very time consuming simply to identify which can be the most efficient for your needs and according to the sector of your business, for example. So if you are interested in exploring the Managing Digital Team module of the course, you can first of all start, we suggest to see first of all the objectives and goals that Roberta showed before, where you can see a list of learning outcomes that you will be able, so a list of competencies that you will develop after completing this course or part of this course. We have, for example, the learning outcome compensate weaknesses by teaming up with others. That is strictly related to the self-awareness and self-efficacy competence of the Entrecom framework, in particular the advanced level, because we saw we have built the course on that. Then we have the Aspire Others and Get Them on Board competence, learning outcome that is related to the mobilizing others competence. So at the end of the course, maybe you want to assess your progresses, your learning progresses. You can do it by using the self-assessment tool embedded in the platform, the test that Roberta showed before, but you can also go deeper in your assessment, for example, using the Entrecom framework. So you take the Entrecom, you search for the self-awareness competence, you see the indicators of the different levels, and you can check if you are really able to reach an advanced level, so compensate for your weaknesses by teaming up with others through, for example, digital tools. Or maybe you can see that you are able to recognize strengths and weaknesses, but you are not so sure that you can be able to compensate for them with the digital tools. The same if you search for the mobilizing others competence. You will ask yourself if you are really able to inspire others and get them on board, or maybe you can see that you know how to communicate ideas clearly and with enthusiasm, but you're not so sure to be able to inspire others. So this was a straightforward example on how you can use this framework to assess your competences. So you can use it as a self-assessment tool if you are, for example, I think to young female entrepreneurs that plan to start a business or has just launched a business, that really need to see what is the starting point in terms of competencies and skills. But you can also use this tool to support the upskilling of your team. If you are a women entrepreneur, an establishing entrepreneur, you should use it to create upskilling pathways to monitor and assess the competences of your teams. You can share this tool with the human resources department and exploit it in a very practical way. So this was this is an example, and I think it can be useful for different categories of entrepreneurs and you platform users. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Francesca. That was great and very well structured and well presented. So nothing else for today's webinar. Just please go ahead and navigate through dewproject.eu, where you will find those free contents all there for you and all created by a very expert consortium for you to use. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.